Don't forget to drink your tea this time.
No, I will though, actually.
Tasty.
Right, you ready? Hello! Episode 2
of the SketchPad pod.
We're really excited.
Yeah.
We feel like we're professionals now.
I mean,
Do you know
episode
how?
2 makes us professional.
No, it actually does.
Okay.
This is commitment.
We're hoping that this is going to go smoother this time.
Yeah, we had a couple of technical difficulties.
But thank you for bearing with us last time.
Yeah. I don't feel the need to go in because that'd be boring, but basically the editing was difficult.
Yes.
I just see Auntie Lisa, we're filming at Alicia's house, Auntie Lisa, it started raining, is running across the garden.
I feel so bad for her.
With bird seed, so it doesn't get wet.
Rosie's looking pretty chilled out in the rain.
The doggo.
Yeah, my dog, she's lovely. She's a Spring Spaniel.
She is gorgeous. Right, should I say what I'm doing?
Yeah, should we introduce ourselves again in case you're joining us on episode 2? And then
I'm Honor.
I'm Alicia.
We actually still sat this way round,
yeah,
which is good because if it's
maybe
kind of
we
complicated,
should just do that from now
on.
We'll try and stay in the same position.
It'd probably be confusing if we didn't.
Yeah. So what are you doing today?
Right. So I can't take credit for this. Someone did it on YouTube. I'll link it in the description. I can do that now. Isn't that exciting? That is professional.
Also, shout out to our first commenter on YouTube, Joe.
Joe!
Absolute legend. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely to see.
We don't know Joe. He's actually just a big fan.
Lies. But yeah, and also big thank you to everyone who found our Instagram.
Yeah.
It's all really exciting. Yes, but as you can see, Honor is doing something with jeans.
Yeah, so it was a girl, she did it, she's like got an arty YouTube account, and it's basically clouds on the back pockets of jeans, which is kind of cool. Very cool.
Very cool. It is raining, by the way, in case there's any background noise.
If it's annoying you, just think of it as therapeutic.
Like meditation vibes, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to be doing a pen drawing, just because I thought pencil wouldn't really show up on the camera very well. So I've got a reference photo and I'm just going to draw it below. Do a cheeky portrait, because...
Oh my days, it's raining quite a lot.
Wow, that is disgusting. I think it's hailing, actually.
It hailed on me on the way home the other day. I was very cross.
It always would rain. When I was walking home from secondary school, it would always rain when I was carrying like all my art stuff.
Yeah.
And I was
to be fair though, it got to the point in year 11 where in year 10, like I would protect my art folder with my life. In year 11, I would use my art folder as an umbrella. I was a bit over it by that point.
I was a bit more protective. I would like huddle over my portfolio, and I wore a blazer, so I'd like wrap my blazer around it.
Yeah, I think the worst memory I have of GCSE art was it was like literally like the last day of year 10. I was completely like tired and over everything, and I had to take everything home that I'd done in art just because I needed it over the holidays. And that is big.
That was bad. I hope I'm assuming my mum's in now. She can't be in the rain.
It's for the reference, it's like small pea size. Pea size would be an overstatement,
but it's pretty
like small pea.
Small pea.
It's the sort of pea you'd find in like
petit pois.
It's petit pois. It's that you'd find in like, I don't know, like a wonky veg section if they just single small peas in a wonky veg section.
You have wonky peas though.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe.
Okay,
this is.
Anyway, I wasn't done with my story.
Okay, you go.
And it is a tangent.
This is a great introduction.
Anyway. So, I was carrying absolutely everything home, and it was so heavy, and I was tired, and then my folder broke completely.
No.
I probably cried. Probably.
I could imagine though. That's like traumatic.
So yeah, that was fun. Anyway, complete tangent. Episode 2.
Episode 2. We are not going to be talking about ourselves for the whole episode.
We're not.
We will be talking a little bit about ourselves because it's to do with what we mentioned last time about social media.
Yeah, isn't that exciting?
So exciting. Both Honor and I gave up. My mum's dancing in the other room. Sorry. Both me and Honor gave up social media
for Lent,
which was
cool.
You gave it up a little bit before Lent.
Right, yeah, so a bit of a background for both of us. Leading up to Lent, I was I got one of these time trackers on my phone, and I was spending an hour a day, sometimes an hour and a half a day on Instagram, which is just ridiculous. It's really bad. And I just didn't want that. So I was like, oh, I'll give it up for Lent. And then I was hoping Lent would come faster so I could give it up. And I was like, oh, Honor, here's the thing. You don't actually have to wait.
Yeah.
So I gave it up a couple of weeks before Lent.
And I had been thinking I was just going to give up. I'll talk about. I did have Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, WhatsApp. Most people have a large range of social medias these days. So I had quite a few, and then a few months before I had got rid of Snapchat, Pinterest, Facebook, and so for Lent I was like, right, I'm going to give up Instagram and YouTube. So all I would have had was my messaging services. And then the day Lent started, I actually left my phone on a train coming back from London.
That was not ideal.
So not only did I give up social media at the beginning of Lent, I had a few days there where I just didn't have my phone at all.
It was actually a bit of a difficulty because I had to email you.
Yeah.
We were trying to arrange something, and we're emailing back and forward because there was no other way to contact you.
That was wild. But then I did get a phone back, but I continued with the no social media Lent idea. I think we're just going to go into...
I deleted Pinterest, Instagram. I wasn't actually on Snapchat to start with, and I technically was on Facebook, but I didn't have the app and I never used it, so I didn't really bother with that. So yeah, basically for me it was Instagram. And what did you find? Did you find anything that changed?
Well, before we go into that, I just thought I'd start us off with a few fun facts, and then we can go into our own personal experience a little bit. So I got this off offgov.co.uk, government website. Statistics on internet usage. So 89% of adults in Great Britain use the internet at least weekly in 2018. And
I'm surprised that's not higher.
I know, I would have thought it would be. And then it says, since 2006, the percentage of adults who use the internet daily has grown from 35% to 86% in 2018, which is... It's doubled since 2006, which is kind of crazy. And then this is US statistics, but I feel like the UK is going to be probably pretty similar.
Yeah, I imagine
so. This is the percentage of US adults who use the following social medias. 73% use YouTube, 68% use Facebook, 35% use Instagram, 27% use Snapchat, 24% use Twitter, and 22% use WhatsApp. I would have thought Instagram would have been higher, to be honest.
Instagram's sort of a younger audience, isn't it?
But still, 73% of people use YouTube.
That
is kind of wild.
Yeah, it would be interesting if that's actively subscribe and watch multiple people.
Yeah.
Or every now and then watch a video on it, because I wouldn't say my mum necessarily particularly uses YouTube, but if a Facebook links to it, then I guess she would.
True.
But
All very interesting stuff.
So obviously giving up social media, I cut down on my social media use. I think the one thing, and because I did it, and then Leash did it, a couple of other friends both did it at the same time, and a lot of people said, I said as well, that you delete it and then it gets to the point where it's like time that, you know, after Lent's finished, like you're allowed to get it back again. And I didn't want it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you found that.
I think I had a similar experience. In that I realised like a lot of how it becomes such a habit.
It became a habit that I didn't even want to.
And well, at the beginning it was like a habit that I really wanted to when I started. Gave it up. You know that thing where you'll open your phone and then realise you have nothing to actually do on your phone. And so you're just like, oh, I'll put it down again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, by the end, I was a lot more used to it. And I definitely decided, like, I didn't want to actually get the apps back.
Yeah.
But I did end up starting to use Instagram and Facebook, but it's, not Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah.
But I don't actually
because Leash actually gave up YouTube. I didn't give up YouTube.
God, yeah.
Because, I spend a lot of time on my own, sort of, I don't know, I guess doing art and that kind of thing, and I really like background noise.
Yeah, I think there are really great uses, like, for just, like, educational purposes and for sort of background noise when you're doing other things. It can be really good.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can learn a lot.
Yeah, you can.
Some really fun stuff.
But Instagram, I didn't really want it back, like, because I realised I was wasting my time on it, and I wasn't that fussed, to be honest. And now I have got it back. I don't know, I have gotten back to scrolling a little bit, just through Explore page, which is really pointless because there's nothing I'm interested in.
Well, this is the thing, so when we put up episode 1, we obviously created an Instagram for that, and I also am currently doing Art Foundation. I'm in my final major project, and so I have an art account where I document and keep a lot of things updated on there. So for a few days after the release of episode 1, I had downloaded Instagram again, and I did automatically. I was going on it a lot more.
Yeah.
And so then after sort of the buzz of the first day and a bit of putting up episode 1, I then deleted the app again because I was like getting back into old habits. I didn't really want to restart.
Exactly. I think it's not that I need something else. Well, it is that I need something else. Like something like Duolingo, I went on that quite a lot before Easter, but lost my streak and stopped.
Oh, disaster.
I know, I was actually quite devastated.
You had a really long streak.
Yeah, it was like 40 days.
Nice.
And that is what I would go on if I had some spare time, or like the Guardian website or something. And then I had to swap phones, and I didn't download those apps again. Yeah. So now, if I have a little bit of free time, but like not enough to do anything in particular, but enough to, you know, like a couple of minutes to kill, I'll just go on Instagram. But it's really not like, I don't enjoy it. We had this talk, this person coming in talking about like drugs and stuff, and one thing he did say was an addiction is when you don't want to keep doing something but you still do, which I thought was really interesting, because a lot of the time, like scrolling through like the Explore page on Instagram or something, I'm like, I really want to stop and like, you know, go to bed or something, but you, for some reason, you keep scrolling. Yeah,
so one of the things I wanted to talk about was FOMO, so fear of missing out.
Yeah.
I think that is a big part of social media. It feels like everything's happening all at once, like it's so instant.
Yeah.
And there's so much buzz around social media and what people are up to, and so you don't want to like miss out on anything, especially if you have like group chats or things on any of these social media platforms. Then you're like, oh, what if I miss like really important thing that my friends have said, or like a funny video or a meme or this, that and the other. Grand scheme of things, it's not important. Exactly. But like, it's this weird sort of psychological thing. I mean, did you find that?
See, thing is, I don't have big group chats because I pretty much left all big group chats because they just annoy me because there's too many messages and I can't reply in time because someone else comments something else and then what you were going to say is irrelevant anyway. So the biggest group chat I have is the Kokoro group chat, which means there's...
Shout out to our Kokoro mates.
So there's 6 of us.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't feel like we're bombarded. We don't...
But it's not also like constant.
No. I don't talk to people online as such, so I think
there was a time like in secondary school when I would talk to people online a lot more. Like it was that was when Facebook was more of a thing. I feel like young people have sort of moved off Facebook a lot more now and just use like Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
But it used to be, obviously when I started social media, all I had was like a flip up pink Samsung phone, so I couldn't use like Facebook on my phone, so I had to go and use the family computer.
That's classic.
Yeah, and you'd have an allotted amount of time, and you'd all like go home, and you'd get on Facebook, and you'd see who's active to chat to, and it was a whole thing of like chatting to your mates over Facebook.
See,
but it's not like that anymore.
I never had that. Somehow I missed out on that. So basically, if I'm messaging friends now, it's to meet up. Like if you scroll back through like any chat I have with someone or like a couple of people, it's like, oh, let's meet here for lunch. Like, oh, are you in the library? Like, oh, like do you have a lesson now?
Yeah.
So I don't really talk to people online, and also I guess it's kind of a good thing, but it's also basically the reason I'm really awful at typing. Like it just sounds like a really random thing, but because
you're not a fast typer.
No, I'm a fast typer, but I spell everything wrong, and like I
can relate to that.
Autocorrect annoys me because I spell so much wrong. It corrects a lot of what I say, and then I meaningfully like I put something that's not in the dictionary, and like if I'm just like woo, like it autocorrects it to like woo.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, come on.
I have to say though, I love your solution to this.
Should I play it?
Is voice messages. She'll just send voice messages onto group chat.
So I message with voice messages, or I'll call people, which
lovely.
Takes up a lot less time.
I would hold your phone next to my mic so that you can get a real true experience.
Was the one I put on the Kokoro chat?
I think it was. What was it to do with? Was it Joe had put some. Oh, our friend Joe, who works at this nice restaurant called STEM.
Oh, yeah.
He had sent a photo of how their menu, they're trying to reduce their waste.
Yeah,
so
food waste.
Food waste. And so Honor was like very enthusiastic about this.
Yeah, we love the environment. So yeah, I'll just send stuff like that. I forgot I put the thing about we love the environment. That's excellent. So I won't message people as much. So fear of missing out, I don't know, because I'm also not following very many people. Like I definitely think a lot of people probably will have that, but because I guess we're quite aware of it and we've made a massive effort to cut down.
Yeah.
I guess in a sense there's less, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I did follow a fair few people, a decent amount of people I guess on Instagram, and then over the last year I've sort of reduced it. I feel like I still probably follow more people than you on my main account, but now that I'm off Instagram anyway, it's not that I feel like I'm missing something so much. It's weird. In some ways, I do feel like I've had a bit of fear of missing out on.
Yeah.
But it's only the people that are like really important to me, like the people that I actually speak to or see in real life. I want to know what's happening with them, and it feels like I might be missing out on a part.
See, I basically have a couple of closer friends. So things like two of my closest friends, when we had a group chat on Instagram. So when I left Instagram, we made a group chat on something else.
Yeah.
Whereas
good.
I guess if you have, and then like instead of like sending memes on Instagram, they'd just screenshot them.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that like really, really helped and means you don't think you're missing, like feel like you're missing anything. But I guess if I was on a big group chat, I guess it would. You feel like you're missing more because you can't really ask. And it's things like my politics class is a group chat, and I'm not on Snapchat, so I'm not on it. And it doesn't bother me, but I think it could bother me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the interesting thing I think as well is that as I'm someone who's effectively taken a gap year, although I'm doing a 3rd year college course basically, but a lot of people have gone off to uni, so the only way that I can sort of know what they're doing or like keep tabs or talk to them is using social media. Obviously I think you stay in touch with some people more closely than others, but I do enjoy like seeing what artwork or film work they've been working on, especially because I have a lot of like creative contacts, and so it's really good to just there are a lot of benefits of having sort of Instagram where you can visually see the work they've been creating.
That goes quite on to sort of a point of topic, which was basically pros and cons.
Pros and cons, yeah, because I feel like I don't want to give a completely negative spin on social media.
Can sound like we're like old people, like it's killing the youths.
You can. I couldn't tell whether you could see my drawing or not, but yeah, I think
it's under the timestamp in it.
Yeah.
So we're not like just hating on it because obviously we use it and it's basically just
we don't
just something we're interested in. We're just like it's something we like discussing.
It's something we've been thinking about a lot more recently because we decided to give it up for a certain amount of time.
So like we're not like you're gonna die. If
you don't have to agree with us.
We're not trying to sound annoying, but it's literally just something we're interested in because I guess it's a big part of everyone's lives.
And I would love to hear if any of you guys have also given up any social media or are thinking about it, or whether you find it like a really integral part of your social life and don't see the need to give it up, which is perfectly justified.
Yeah, fair enough. So I think pros is some of our close friends left for uni. We both, I think, have some longer distance friends, and having social media has helped so much with that because like voice call, like video chat has
FaceTime.
I know like you're not next to them, but it feels like it, and it's so nice to have a call with someone if you've been like missing them or whatever, and just have a catch up. And I definitely like without social media, people going off to uni and that kind of thing would have been a lot harder. And I've got a couple of like long distance friends, and I don't know if we would have been able to keep contact.
Yeah, it's like so cool. You have a friend, is it in America that you can stay in touch with?
Exactly.
And also for me, like I was talking about, I have a lot of creative people that I know, but a part of that is that I am part of GWAC, which is an art collective, which has an online presence on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the works. But it's made up of like over 100 members, and they're not just local to me. They're all across the UK and some international. So we wouldn't have been able to form that art collective without social media, and we wouldn't be able to be creating the work that we're creating, which is exciting, and it's only made possible by like the modern technology we have. So got to be grateful for that.
And so keeping in contact with people, obviously, like also things like Pinterest. I don't know if I see that as a social media. I more see that as like a resource in a way.
The reason I decided to give up Pinterest before Lent actually was not because I really see it as a social media, although I think it is classed as one.
It is classed as one,
but it was just because like you were saying with Instagram, I was scrolling on it without any purpose.
Yeah.
And I think it can be a really good source of creative inspiration, tutorials, great links onto other websites.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice creative outlet for any sort of person. But if I'm just using it for the sake of filling time, I feel like I'd rather try and form like different habits, like picking up a book, which I don't do enough.
I deleted it as well when I was deleting social media, purely because it is technically a social media. And also because one other time I deleted Instagram, I found that I went straight to Pinterest instead. And it's so in that sense, if I'm not wanting to sort of, I guess, waste time on social media, then that's not changing. I'm just wasting time on different social media.
I can definitely relate to that, because when I gave up YouTube, I went straight back over to Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like I sort of reduced my Netflix consumption, but I had like increased my YouTube content a lot.
Yeah.
And then it just flipped. But by giving up YouTube, I actually was conscious of the fact of what I had done.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, I had this lofty goal that I was gonna like stop watching TV the other week. I massively failed at it. I think I did like 2-3 days. I am trying to not.
But the thing is, it's
as much TV.
Obviously, it's up to you. But maybe the aim is not to completely cut out, but maybe just like reduce.
Yeah, I think you also can't kick yourself if you fail at something.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like with Lent, it's quite a good time to do it, just because it gives you a structure. It gave us a structured way, and you knew sort of a date that it was going to end.
Yeah.
But when it is actually interesting. I think it's a lot harder to just be like, I'm giving it up indefinitely.
Yeah.
Because then it's really on your own head as to whether you get it back or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas it felt like with Lent, it was
like a break, but then
but it was almost not of my choice. It was like, oh, it's because of Lent.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Which obviously it had been my decision.
Also, like, it's not really, because like people were pretty supportive. Well, very supportive. But also, like, if people are like, why are you giving it up? Like, why would you do that? That's so weird. You can just be like, oh, well, I've chosen to do that for Lent. And like, people are like, oh, cool, that makes sense. But if you're just like, oh, because I don't want to spend loads of time in it, then it's sort of like, what?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people also can use social media as sort of a rest during their day. It's like a way to switch your mind off for a bit. And I definitely use it in that way. And I think actually a lot of people ask me, it's like, oh, but you can't just be like, don't do too much. You can't be doing something all the time. You've got to let, especially when I was like, I might give up Netflix, which, that didn't work. But like, they were like, you need to make sure you give yourselves rest breaks.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think where I want to find is more varied uses of my time.
Yeah,
my free time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not about necessarily cutting out absolutely everything.
No.
That's the reason, primarily the reason I just wanted to reduce how much I was using.
Yeah, and I've been listening to podcasts a lot recently, which is one of the reasons why I was really excited to do this podcast with you, because I think it's such a nice thing to have in the background when you're doing other stuff.
Because at the moment, I'll watch YouTube while doing art, and if I had loads of podcasts that I really liked, I would probably do that instead.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I have a fairly long commute to my college, and it's just
you like
really
drive
nice.
An hour.
I drive with podcasts in the background. I feel like maybe another episode we should do fave YouTubers or fave podcasters.
Yeah.
Let us know if you'd be interested in that. That could be wild.
See, here's the thing. I cycle I cycle 15 minutes to Godalming and then walk 15 minutes up the hill. So I don't really listen to podcasts, to be honest. Because you can't listen to anything while cycling. And by the time you start walking up the hill, you're kind of like, well, there's only 10 minutes left. So
fair enough.
I'd say we've probably covered cons and pros. Details, just like over the past.
Yeah, in general.
Chatting. Okay,
Hit us with another question on it.
Okay, so what have I put? Here's the thing. When we were younger, we weren't in the generation really where we had phones at all. So I got a phone when I was 9 because
some people would still see that as quite young.
It definitely was, but the reason was, I was going to say, is because I started walking home on my own.
Yeah.
So I got a flip phone. I could play Doodle Jump. I could text and I could call. So it's not the same.
So
at all.
No, I got a phone. I think when I was 10.
Yeah.
10 or 11. And it was the same reason. I had to walk home to and from school, and so our parents just wanted us to have a phone in case. Being safe.
So obviously we didn't have social media. We didn't.
No.
We couldn't. Well, okay, we sometimes texted friends.
Oh,
but
my favourite game on my phone, Snake.
Snake was so good.
It was so good.
Snake Doodle Jump was mine.
Alright, if you've never used Snake, I bet they have a version for
oh yeah, they will.
On the App Store now, so I would go
it was basically like
wild time.
You had this little
snake
inch by inch screen. And there's this snake that you use the keypad to move around the screen, and it eats these things, and when it eats the thing, little blobs, it gets longer. High tech, advanced stuff.
And then also music.
We would Bluetooth each other music.
Yes, I think I had about 2 songs on my phone.
Yeah, Gummy Bear.
And an Alvin and Chipmunks version of the song we were talking about last episode, which I can't believe.
Jeans.
Yeah.
And also, Bass Hunter. Now You're Gone by Bass Hunter. But I actually really like that song, and I've looked for it, and I can't find it because we had some sort of stripped down what's it called, acoustic version, and it's actually like a
bit of a bop.
It's like a sort of European techno type esque thing.
I can't believe that was the song.
I know. How did we end up with that? So basically what I was saying is we didn't have phones and social media as a significant part of our lives, and I always say nowadays, I'm so glad about that. But do you think in 10 years we'll look back and we'll be disappointed, because you can't hide the fact that social media and stuff is a big part of our teenage lives?
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm kind of if we look back to our childhood and say, I'm so glad we didn't have phones and we weren't on social media, you can't say the same for now. So I don't know, I feel in 10 years maybe I'll be I wish I hadn't spent so much time on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, because I guess it depends what the social media of the age is then.
Yeah.
It might be a funny thing of telling people younger, it's back in my day.
Back in my day I was on Instagram.
We had YouTube and Instagram, and they'd be oh, that's so so old. What is that? But I don't see social media going away anytime soon.
Oh, absolutely not. No chance. But I feel this is it. It's in our lives now. Do you know what I mean?
No going back.
No going back. But you can go back.
Yeah.
Boycott.
Yeah. You can refuse to be included in the social media society. I think it's also something that I think about is how does it affect people that are younger than us that are getting social media
this
now?
Is the thing though, because when I was on holiday, we were in a museum, and their school trip came in and they were all on their phones. Crazy. And it did make me really sad. I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, the youths on their phones.
Yeah, because
But
it's
like,
not
I
like...
thought it was really sad. Like, they were all just taking photos and like not really. They weren't. Yeah, it didn't feel like they were present,
engaging,
present and engaging. And I think, but they must have been about 7, and they all had the latest iPhones, which that's what really shocked me.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, like I said, I'm really glad we weren't part of that generation.
I mean, I know that some people say that actually the games and things you get on iPads and iPhones can be really good for developing children's dexterity.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we had Nintendos or Game Boys, you know, those sort of technologies that were a little bit more reduced, so you couldn't have access to the social media
because like
aspect.
I I babysit a bit, and I know they have iPads that they can play games on, like, you know, like half an hour a day.
Yeah.
But that's not like full blown access to all social media, the internet, absolutely everything, which I think is fine, because there's one thing like I don't see a problem with technology. Like, technology is amazing. Like, it's gotten us, we've advanced so much because of it. But yeah, when I think it's what we're talking about is not children just having a phone so they can, or like an iPad for Christmas where they can play some games every so often, that kind of thing. It's like when children have access to social media and that kind of thing from a young age.
Yeah, it's always going to be a difficult one, because it will, at the end of the day, be the parents' decision as to whether they feel it's right for their child or not. But it's just sort of, it's crazy to look back at our childhood and like what it is now, and yeah, it's hard to see what effect that will have in the future. And it's kind of crazy because you can have like Instagram celebrities, people with thousands of followers that are younger than us, and that's kind of insane.
They're talking about on Instagram removing likes, aren't they?
Are they now? Interesting.
So, as in, you can like a photo, but a photo won't say like 1.2 million likes. It will, if you want, you can click on likes and go through the list, which I don't know.
Well, I guess the whole concept is that when you see that your photo is liked, you get a dopamine hit. And so that's why it's so addictive. So perhaps if it's not so obvious, but wouldn't you still be notified that someone's liked it, even if it doesn't show on the photos?
You would. I guess, I think partly, isn't it to stop like...
people feeling sort of...
what am I trying to say? Like, you know, when you see someone who, I don't know, like looks amazing, it looks like they all have it together. Yeah. I guess it's maybe partly to stop that.
The perfect life.
Yeah,
but the
problem with like removing likes, I think, is that like things like if you just look on our podcast, like Instagram page, I wasn't supposed to be like that, but like you can see you can't really at the moment, but on some people's pages, you can see what your followers are interested in, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The battery's flashing.
No!
And we'll just keep going until it goes off. You can see what people are interested in, but I guess that's just because that's what we know at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, getting rid of likes seems really weird to us, because we have likes.
Yeah, I mean, who came up with that?
Yeah, I
know. Who invented like?
Well, here's the thing, because the people who invented like Facebook, aren't they now rejecting it and saying this is not what they wanted? And I
don't know, is Zuckerberg doing that?
I don't know if it's Zuckerberg, but it's one social media platform. A couple of the key creators of it have actually like withdrawn all their involvement, because they're saying
that's really interesting.
Yeah, they're saying this is not what they envisaged, and they're not happy with where the platform's gone, that kind of thing. Which I think interesting.
Social media has sort of morphed into a whole different thing to what it began as.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of MySpace was before my generation. We were talking about this, like, we don't really know which generation we fall into. Technically Gen Z.
Technically Gen Z, but
I
was saying
millennial.
You technically could be a millennial, and I am technically a Gen Z, but I was saying I don't really relate with that because I have like older siblings and things.
But I think the main distinction is that like both generations have, in part, some of them, their childhood has been affected by social media.
Yeah, that's
some
the thing,
have
isn't it?
had childhood without social media, and then it sort of has been introduced in teenage life, and then others have had it right from the start, which is, it's definitely interesting, the sort of shift of perspective.
Because
on that.
to be fair, we had Instagram probably in quite early days, because I didn't really understand what social media was and got Instagram when I was maybe about 11.
You see, I would have been in secondary school.
Because I didn't really know that you weren't supposed to get it. I didn't really... To be fair though, all my I don't think that affected me. I cannot remember using Instagram as like an 11-year-old in any sense, because I was sure I had an account and like 3 or 4 friends followed it. I was completely private and stuff.
I think one of my first photos was my dog at my dad's with a plastic duck on her head. You know, it was
it's like that kind of level. Like I think I
grainy
probably
photographs.
Made a cake and like put it on, like, look, I made a cake. So I wouldn't say obviously social media was a big part of my life at all.
Yeah, I think it's the seriousness you give to your social media.
Yeah,
it changes.
Okay. We just took a little break.
Yes.
So Mum was saying, I can't remember what she was saying.
You can't remember? Something about the seriousness of social media?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so Mum was saying when we were on holiday, me and my brother made a particular effort to take really, really stupid photos, because I have a priv, so basically the worse the photo, the funnier it is.
Yeah.
And Mum was saying when she was younger, they made a massive effort to take really nice photos because they only could take one, because they didn't have phones.
Wow, yeah.
They so when Mum and Dad were out in Uganda for a while, so their photo, they had like film cameras. They only had a certain number of photos they could take on the film. So if it was a blurred or something, that was like really irritating. Whereas for us, it's like we can take literally hundreds in a minute.
Actually, I have the point that I just want to sneak in before we do our last question, is that, like I said, so I lost my phone at the beginning of Lent. Well, not lost, left it on a train.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. But, as I did mention in the last podcast, I recently went to Venice, and that trip was like, I think it was like the week after I lost my phone, and basically I went to Venice with a really old rubbish phone that had a terrible camera, just so that like I had some emergency phone, emergency phone. But my boyfriend actually uses film cameras a lot, disposable cameras, and so I took some inspiration and got one for the holiday.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. This photo is from a disposable camera. You can see a bit of my hair reflecting in it. But, yeah, no, so it is that thing of you only have a certain amount of shots to get it right. And you might have some sort of discoloration or something you didn't expect in the final outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was, which now it's so instantaneous. So
yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so, okay, my final question.
I don't know what this is, by the way.
She doesn't know what it is.
I'm hyped.
I'm just trying to look if I've missed anything out. Okay. If you could...
cold tea.
Yeah, I have not had a single drink of tea.
That's terrible. No, it's fine. You do you.
Yeah, I mean, it's cold.
Okay, hit me.
I'm not singing the song. If you could have all the technology we have access to nowadays, all social media, all technology, you don't necessarily have to use it all, but if you have the ability to access it, Google literally everything, or have nothing, so take it back like 75 years and you don't have anything, what would you choose?
Gosh. Throwing me a curveball for the final few minutes of the podcast.
Yeah, something about that one.
part of me wants to be like, let's get rid of all of it.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something quite nice about the idea of that community aspect where you have to write a letter to someone, or you talk to your neighbours a lot more because you'd have to like go out to like see people and interact and things. Whereas social media itself, it makes it so easy to feel like you're having a conversation with someone when you're not. But to get rid of all technology in general, no, I don't think so.
Neither would I.
No.
Okay, so what I figured is I feel like we romanticize like sending letters and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like me and two of my close friends, we write each other monthly letters.
Cute.
And we put in like pictures and drawings and photos and memories and that kind of thing because we really like that idea. So in that sense, and you were saying about the loss of community, like definitely I think there's a potential of that, but like we know our neighbours really well and like
you
we're
just
good
have
friends
to make
and you
the conscious
so
decision.
I feel like just because there is the possibility that you can lose touch with people and you can become absorbed with online, stuff, I don't think it has to be like that.
It's the way you decide to use social media within your life. But if we're talking about technology as a whole,
like the amount people have been helped because of technological advances.
Yeah, especially in
healthcare.
medicine, healthcare, environmental. I mean, there's pros and cons to that.
Oh yes,
another episode. But
literally,
but like green energy and solar power and the development that's thing. There's. I mean, we're talking. There's so many technological.
Yeah, exactly.
So many. So I don't think you can just eclipse that with the negatives.
What a phrase!
Wow.
Oh, eclipse that.
I know. And on that stellar final sentence, I think we should maybe start
end
to
it
wrap
there.
up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for listening.
So we will, as always, put the finished photographs of our work.
Yeah, literally,
on the
when we
Instagram.
were taking a little break, I was like, I assume I'm not going to wear the jeans when I put the photo on, because then it's just a photo of my bum.
Yeah, probably
maybe not the account we're going for.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll be able to see mine a little better. I don't know if mine's been interesting to watch today, but I will put a photo up anyway. And I think, just leave us a comment. This sounds so funny. Leave us a comment on social media about your thoughts on social media. Like, do you like it? Do you hate it? Why do you use it? Yeah, give us just maybe your top pro and your top con.
Also, like, I know we were going to say we're not going to, like, spit on all social media, but if you're thinking about, your usage, that kind of thing, maybe just get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's not permanent. Just, take a couple of days off, see how it goes. Because I, honestly, like, overall, over everything we've discussed, I would recommend taking a break because you can sort of reevaluate, cut down if you want.
It's always healthy, I think, to sort of take a break from things and reevaluate how these things will fit into your life.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
See you next time.
On Alicia out! Way!
Love it.
Yeah, babe, love it.